Hey, if you think your progression in Tarkov is only defined by raids, quests, or kills, you're forgetting a massive progress system. It's underground and often running while you're offline, your hideout. It's an advantage outside of the raid. It turns junk into progress, time into items, and downtime into recovery. And in patch 1.0, it matters more than ever. At its core, the hideout is your base. You start with a filthy bunker and rebuild it module by module. Each module has levels and every upgrade asks for three things: items, money, and sometimes requirements or prerequisites. Items are the big limiter now, because some of them need to be found in raid. Money is mostly rubles early on, so it's quite easy in PvE, and prerequisites are other modules, skills, or trader loyalty. Anything you craft in the hideout automatically counts as found in raid, and that means you can often craft what you need found in raid for your hideout in your hideout. So your hideout becomes your most reliable way to beat RNG, especially in PvE, where you're often limited by what you find and not the kill quests. In this video I want to make the hideout simple, what it actually does and what you should build first, and why this thing quietly carries your progression if you use it right. Let's talk about power first, because this is where people waste fuel without realizing it. The generator powers most of the crafting station. When it's on, crafts run at normal speed. When it's off, crafts that need power still work, but they become extremely slow. Painfully slow. There's one key exception, the lavatory. Lavatory crafts do not need power at all, so even with the generator off, lavatory runs at full speed. But here's the trick most newer players miss. You only need the generator on to start the craft that requires power. Once the craft has started, you can turn off the generator and save fuel, but the craft will slow down massively. Early game, that gives you a choice. If you're actively playing, keep the generator on and get normal crafting speed. If you're logging off and fuel is expensive, accept the slow crafting overnight. Time versus fuel, that's the trade. Now let's talk about the actual early game play, because this is where most people slow themselves down. The goal early is not to min-max buffs or to get high tier craft, the goal is to remove blockers. And the correct move here is simple: get everything to level 1 first. The hideout is a dependency craft. If one module is missing, it doesn't just block itself, it blocks upgrades for other modules down the line. So the fastest way forward is to unlock all basic stations at level 1 as early as possible. You start with Illumination 1. It's cheap and it unlocks half your hideout. From there you build Security level 1, then Generator level 1, this is non-negotiable. One spark plug and some rubles make the generator turn your hideout from a dead menu into a workhorse for you. Ventilation level 1 is next. On its own it feels useless, but it's a hard blocker for Lavatory 2, generator upgrades and several mid-game paths. Once the baseline exists, you unlock every core station at level 1. Workbench level 1 comes online so you can mod your weapons with added build and unlock early ammo. One of the most important crafts here is actually wires. You will need a lot of wires and they can get quite expensive, especially early wipe. And it's usually still a good craft late game. Med station level 1 follows immediately after. Med station is not strong because it gives you cheap med crafts, but rather later down the line it gives you insane quest progression. Defib comes to mind, or for the really unlucky among you, the LEDX. Lavatory level 1 comes next. It's cheap, it doesn't require power, and it unlocks a massive craft pool. This is important, because Lavatory is not a comfort module, it's a progression module. Hoses are the big early game craft here. They are required found in raid for some quests, and a lot of them are needed for different hideout upgrades. Heating level 1 and rest space level 1 round out the baseline. These are comfort upgrades, yes, but more importantly, they remove future blockers. Last but not least, water collector level 1, which is the requirement for our next important step. At this point, your hideout is fully unlocked at level 1, and nothing is holding you back structurally. Now comes the first real push, Lavatory level 2. Lavatory level 2 unlocks the crafts for the 545 60 round mags you need for Prapa's ice cream cones. In PvE, hunting these mags, especially for beginners, is naturally pure RNG. You are not ready to just farm killer, so this is the play. With Lavatory 2, the quest stops being luck based. You craft the mags, they count as found in raid, and the quest is done. That single upgrade saved me hours of frustration as a beginner. And for the standard account people, this has another important effect. You speed up your progress towards the Punisher questline, which gives you the Epsilon container, very important upgrade. Once Lavatory 2 is done, progression opens up again. Now it makes sense to look at the stash. If you are playing on the standard edition, your stash starts level 1, and it's brutally small. At this point you already feel the pain. You're hoarding fountain raid items for hideout upgrades, quest items and crafts, and suddenly inventory management becomes the real enemy. Stash level 2 is expensive, but for the standard edition players it's often worth prioritizing early, simply to remove friction. More space means fewer forced sells, fewer bad decisions, and less time playing inventory Tetris instead of Tarkov. If you have the EOD or Unheard edition, you already have stash maxed out from the get-go. There's one more module that deserves special attention early: the Cultist Circle. And this is something almost everyone should build as soon as it becomes available. The only exceptions are Unheard Edition owners, because they already start with it pre-built. The Cultist Circle is broken for one simple reason. It can generate fountain rate quest items on a specific predictable timer. Once you build it, you sacrifice items, and after a set duration, it returns rewards that count as fountain rate. The most important part to understand here is the 6-hour quest item timer. There are actually 3 different timers: 12 hours, 14 hours, and 6 hours. The 12-hour timer is the worst of the bunch. You won't get quest items, and the overall value of the loot is low. You get stuck with this timer if your sacrifice falls below a certain value threshold. This value is based on the item's basic value, which isn't what the trader pays you or what you bought it for on the flea. That sounds quite complicated, yes. To make it simpler for you, I give you my personal strategy to hit the right value every time. The goal is to achieve over 400k rubles in value, which gives you a 25% chance to get the 6-hour timer. The best item to offer is a modded G28 from Peacekeeper 3. It only costs 1 lab card and has a guaranteed value over 400k. If you are earlier in your progress, you might consider offering 5 normal MP5s from Peacekeeper instead. While there are websites to check specific values and optimize your sacrifices, I personally just stick to the G28 trick. The final timer is the 14-hour version, which you will get the other 75% of the time if your value is over 400k. This returns valuable items like keys, keycards, or special weapons, which can all be quite good. For PvE players, the 6-hour timer provides insane value. Tarkov has a lot of quests that aren't necessarily hard, they are just annoying. Items like gas analyzers, VPX, or vertexes technically have a lot of spawns, but never when you actually need them. The Cultist Circle turns those quests from RNG checks into scheduled progress. You log in, keep the circle running, and eventually the items will come to you. What makes it even stronger is that it stacks with everything else you're doing. You can be raiding, crafting, or even offline, and the Cultist Circle keeps working. It doesn't require fuel management like the generator, it doesn't care about trader stock, and it bypasses map-specific loot frustration entirely. Especially early on, when every blocked quest delays your trader levels, this accelerates your account more than almost any other single upgrade. That 6-hour timer is the key, because it fits perfectly into normal play sessions. You check it before your raids, you check it after, and suddenly quests that used to take days resolve themselves passively. That's why the Cultist Circle isn't just a nice bonus, it's a progression multiplier. So if you aren't on the Unheard Edition, building a circle early is one of the smartest investments you can make. It doesn't replace playing the game, but it removes the worst kind of friction in Tarkov: waiting on luck. And in PvE especially, consistency beats excitement every single time. Fountain rate requirements are why so many quests feel like pure luck. The Hideout turns luck into planning. Instead of asking, will this item spawn for me, you ask, what do I need to craft it? Therapist Shortage is the classic example. You need Saliwa's fountain rate. If you loot them naturally, great. If not, Med Station level 1 makes it guaranteed. You craft them, they count, you move on. Prepper's ice cream cones is another early wall. Those 60 round mags can feel rare when you actually need them. Lavatory level 2 lets you craft them. The quest becomes a checklist instead of a slot machine. Now the other side of this is crafting as self-supply. Workbench upgrades unlock higher grade ammo later. This matters because good ammo is expensive, limited, or not obtainable at all. The workbench becomes your bridge. It doesn't win you the economy, but it gives you a constant supply of good ammo late game. Med Station does the same for medical supplies. Crafting your own property can be much cheaper. And then Lavatory fills the gaps. Bags, fabrics, utility crafts. And a lot of annoying items that Tarkov loves to get quests behind. And again, Lavatory doesn't care about power, it just runs. There's also a long-term progression loop people forget. Crafting levels your crafting skill, which reduces the craft time. Upgrading your hideout and running it on fuel levels your hideout management, which improves your efficiency. Early crafts feel slow because they are supposed to. The system speeds up if you actually use it. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room: passive income. This is where people sabotage themselves by watching late wipe content too early. You don't need the Bitcoin farm early. You don't need the scav case early. The Bitcoin farm is a long-term project. It needs expensive upgrades, rare items, and constant fuel. It only becomes free money after massive investments. It's not a starter tool. The scav case is similar. It's a loot gamble. It's like a casino. Sometimes it spikes, sometimes it returns garbage. It's fun, not essential, and definitely not an early priority. It can be somewhat good for keys if you use the intel option. A better mid-game mindset is building chains. Water collector turns filters into water. Boost generator turns super water and sugar into moonshine. Moonshine can be sold or used in the scav case later. That's how the hideout actually snowballs. A few modules are worth calling out because they change daily gameplay. The Intelligence Center is pure quality of life. Shorter scav cooldowns, better quest rewards, lower flea market fees. It quietly speeds up your entire account. The shooting range is a bit underrated. While you can test your gun in an offline raid, yes, it's much faster to just quickly jump into the hideout and swap out the parts you want to test and shoot away. The library boosts skill gains and XP gains. It's not flashy, but it accelerates progression over time. The same goes for the air filtration unit, just for a different skill set. Then we have the gym, a mid-game powerhouse. It gives you the way to train strength and endurance outside of the raid, especially useful if your playstyle doesn't naturally grind those skills. You can do 2 sessions per day. So that's the hideout. In patch 1.0, with the story quest sometimes requiring hideout stations, it's even more important to build it as soon as possible. Your early plan is simple: illumination, security, generator, and so on. Use the crafts to solve quests, use the crafts to supply your raids. Use the lavatory when fuel is low, and don't rush the Bitcoin farm like it's mandatory. First, you need to build your foundation, then you build the money machines. And once that hideout is running, even bad raids stop feeling like setbacks, because your base is always working for you in the background. And now you know how to turn unused junk into progress. I hope this guide and a few tips and tricks here and there were helpful to you. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.